Now it's time to dive into the playoffs, and we will start with the NFC. Let's take a look at the actual matchups here for the NFC playoffs as they will move forward. The San Francisco 49ers, number one seed, they will get the bye. I think for my money, these are some of the best playoff matchups we've had in quite some time. There are storylines all over the place, and I'm excited to talk with you guys about it. The first one here, Tim, is going to be those Packers, formerly coached by Mike McCarthy, going to take on the Dallas Cowboys, currently coached by Mark McCarthy. So it's the Mike McCarthy Bowl here, Tim. How are you feeling about the matchup, and give us the winner?
I'm a little nervous.
Me too.
The only thing saving me is really that Dallas is playing well at home, and they have been all year. I think they're 8-0 at home. The Packers, a decent team. Jordan Love didn't start out well, but he has been playing well lately. Again, remember, this is his first full season playing football, standing behind Aaron Rodgers for the first four seasons. Long story short to say, though, no matter how good Jordan Love is playing, I think Dak Prescott is playing that much better. Dallas has a complete unit, including special teams. They go on to win this game maybe by 10, 12 points.
What Dallas has done at home and the points they put up, on their home field is tremendous as compared to the road. I give Jordan Love a lot of credit because it has been the Green Bay offense that has won the games. Now, my son Simon is a Packers fan, and he is distressed with this Packers defense. Not happy at all. I think they're going to be going into, a difficult situation here because, Dallas is just a different animal at home. And I think especially if they get up a couple of scores early on, that's going to be hard for the Packers to overcome. So I'm going with the Cowboys to win this one.
This matchup and kind of how things have set up for the playoffs for the Cowboys is literally best case scenario. They won the division, which means you get at least one game at home, which is where they've been 8-0 and have played incredibly well. Have not played great on the road, amazing at home. So you want that first and foremost. You're getting all of your pieces back. You're healthy and you're ready to go. You're playing at home, and you have the Packers come in who have had your number, but that was with Aaron Rodgers. I just think every aspect of the Cowboys should outplay the Packers. It'll be a close game, but I think Dak and the defense and Mike McCarthy, hopefully, special teams will get it all together on the same page, and they will pull this one out, and they need to pull this out. If you lose this game after going 8-0 in the regular season at home, that's where we get into trouble, Tim, about firing people and just terrible feelings over there in postseason time. So this is a prove-it game for the Cowboys, for Dak, for Mike McCarthy, for everybody. So we're all taking the Cowboys. It is the Matthew Stafford Bowl as the LA Rams with Matthew Stafford go to Detroit to take on the Lions, where he formerly played, although he did win a Super Bowl with the Rams. So, Eric, this is just such a fun matchup for so many reasons. Go ahead and give us your feelings on the game and who you think's going to win.
This was the most difficult one to try and pick a winner for because I don't think anybody anticipated the Rams to be, first of all, have a winning record, let alone be in the playoffs. But Stafford has come back and had a tremendous season. Detroit, I think they're the darlings because, Detroit has been downtrodden for so long, but Dan Campbell has completely changed the attitude and the landscape with this ball club. The only thing is that Detroit's secondary has had their moments, on the downside where they've been torched. And right now with Matthew Stafford throwing the ball the way that he has, they're going to be in for a full game. But you know what? I'm going with my heart here, instead of my head. And I took Detroit. Partly because I want to see the Lions win. I want to see them win a playoff game. I want to see that place just erupt. So I think in the end, again, I'm going with my heart, but I'm going Lions on this one. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams won it.
This game's going to be, I think, won by the Los Angeles Rams because of their passing. Matt Stafford coming back to Ford Field is going to be one thing, but he will torch that Detroit Lions secondary. The Rams are playing well the last 7 games. They are on fire, averaging 30, 35 points a ball game. And what they're not doing, they're not turning the ball over either. 18 or 17 games this year, I think they had 18 turnovers. That's what wins football games, especially in the playoffs. I'm going to go one step further. If there's one wild card team in the NFC that could possibly make a run to the Super Bowl, I think it's the Rams. Remember, in this hot streak in the last 7 games, they lost. Their only loss was an overtime loss to Baltimore. And that tells you something, because Baltimore is one of the best teams, if not the best team right now, coming into the playoffs. So I love Detroit. I love the story behind it, but I think the Rams come in and they go back to SoFi Stadium with a win.
It's Detroit. They're at home. They're a good team. They're a really good team. And for some reason, I'm kind of leaning towards Eric here with a Detroit win, and also part of me wants them to come back to Dallas and play so we can shut them all up, and they're crying about that end of the game that just happened a few weeks ago, and really show them what the score should have been, which should have been a 12-point victory for the Cowboys. Yeah. So I'm saying Lions are coming to Dallas. They get the win in this matchup, and actually it's pretty sweet irony that they beat Matt Stafford to do it.
Baker Mayfield's resurrected his career a little bit, and he is playing well. He's got 2 world-class wide receivers down there. One of those, Godwin from Penn State. They're playing well offensively. I love Todd Bowles as a defensive coordinator, maybe not as a head coach, but really he can flat out coach his defenses. Eagles, quite frankly, are a team in disarray. You could look at it. It's like a hot knife through butter. They cannot stop the run. Their secondary is very banged up. Their offense not looking good. I think Jalen Hurts is certainly not having his year that he did last year. Where has Brown been? They just are not a team that looks good. It would not surprise me. They go down to Tampa. Hard to believe. When they were 10-1, you would have said they're going to be playing their first playoff game on the road down in Tampa, and I think Baker Mayfield wins this ball game. I think because Tampa Bay probably wants it a little bit more than the Philadelphia Eagles do.
The wheels have been coming off the bus, and I'm thinking to myself, during our picks, I'm like, well, this is the week the Eagles will turn things around. They'll put things into place. They'll get it. It didn't happen, and now I'm thinking to myself, okay, they made it to the postseason. You can't just flip a switch and then just correct everything that's gone wrong. Obviously, the defensive line, they're not getting the sacks anywhere close to what they'd had a year ago, which takes a lot of pressure off the secondary. And like Tim said, Eagles secondary is really banged up. A.J. Brown went down with an injured knee last week. Devontae Smith a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, Jalen Hurts has been banged up as well. So, I mean, the Eagles are going to have to dig deep. But I just had this gut feeling that Tampa Bay is going to win this game.
The Eagles are a hot mess right now, and their fans will tell you that. And that's why it pains me to say I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh.
Chad.
I just don't respect the Tampa Bay Bucs. You just beat the Panthers 9-0 last week. I mean, come on. What are we doing? If the Cowboys played that game, it'd be 30-6. So. Yeah, I think the Eagles have enough to get past Tampa Bay. Also, if they were to get past them and somehow the Rams were to beat the Lions, guess who's coming to Dallas next weekend? It's the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's what I'm rooting for. And thusly, I am taking the Philadelphia Eagles begrudgingly.
There, you're picking with your heart now, too.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing it. Of all the 7 teams in the running to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC, who is going to represent them in Vegas this year?
I'm going to go with the majority. I'm going to go with San Francisco as well. I think that loss to Baltimore was a cold slap of reality to them. And I think now they're going to go back to the drawing board and go back to square one and say, okay, look, we got to reset and we got to make another strong run. And I think in the big picture, that's going to benefit the 49ers. And I think they're going to end up one of the 2 participants in the Super Bowl this year.
My heart says the Cowboys. My brain says the 49ers, and my gut says the 49ers. And a lot of those reasons from what Eric, this is a team that clearly has the best personnel, at least offensively and defensively, in the NFC. the Super Bowl runs through them. So I don't care who is going to play them. I think this is San Francisco's to lose. They'll be representing the NFC in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl.
My heart says the Cowboys. My head says the 49ers. And if the 49ers meet the Cowboys in the NFC Championship, which the Cowboys have not been to since 1995, the 49ers will win that game. But they're not going to meet in the NFC Championship game because the 49ers aren't going to make it there, which means it's Dallas's year to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, boy.
They are heading to Super Bowl. And let me tell you, do not let the Dallas Cowboys get to the Super Bowl, because if you think this level of obnoxiousness is bearable, it's going to be at a level 88 obnoxiousness if the Cowboys get to the Super Bowl. So don't let it happen, because it will not be good for the rest of the world. If they get in,
okay, all right,
it's going to be code red for everybody in Lancaster County and beyond. So just a fair warning.